everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of What's the Word? Eagle Alumni Spotlights podcast. And today we have a very special guest for you, so let's get into it. Hi, everybody. Today we are here with Alex Hoppe. And Alex, why don't you give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Yeah, sure thing. So I was a mechanical engineering student in the robotics track, and I graduated last year in 2022. Let's see, one of my favorite memories being at Embry-Riddle. I have a lot of interesting tales, like the time I got chased by javelinas at midnight down by the lake.
Oh, wow.
And I also took a summer class where it was just me and one other student in the whole class. And then last year, that student officiated my wedding. So it's been a wild time at Embry-Riddle. I really enjoyed my time there. And yeah, that's about it. Currently,
That's awesome.
I'm just starting a brand new job working for, of all places, Pennsylvania State University in Washington State as a contractor for the Navy. So, Russian nesting doll of jobs. It's a super cool opportunity. I'm really enjoying working in the undersea field. Unfortunately, I can't go into too much detail there because security clearances and all that.
Right. All that good stuff. That's awesome. What's your favorite part of your current job, if you can get into that a little bit?
I would say my favorite part about my current job is just how varied it is. Every day is completely different, and it's something that I always have to adapt to and change my expectations. But that keeps things interesting and engaging. And that's what I really love about it.
Oh, that's awesome. Definitely keeps you on your toes then.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then what does a typical day look like? I know you can't get too much into it, but if you could give us a brief overview, that would be great.
Yeah, so let's see. In the morning times, generally get in and check my email, see if there's any updates. An interesting thing about my position is that because I'm working for Pennsylvania State University, a lot of the stuff happens over there, and they're 3 hours ahead of us. And so mornings usually spent getting caught up with things that are happening over there. And so that's the typical morning. And then for the rest of the day, it's usually getting into design work or working out in the field or in the shop and that sort of thing. And then with various like meetings interspersed within all of that. So
Very cool. And then, so do you do a lot of writing in your current job?
I would say not a huge amount in my like role as a research and development engineer. A lot of what I do is like the very early phases of a project before it goes into really heavy documentation and turning like the stuff I design into like work procedures and that sort of thing. That being said, in my role, there is a lot of communication and writing that is centered around, I guess, the best way to put it would be education. Educating both like myself in terms of like getting up to date on the latest industry standards, and then educating my peers and managers and like kind of what I'm working on, because this is like new stuff. There's not really a set rule book, and so that would probably be where the writing is centered around in my role.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. So, kind of a genre for your writing, would it be centered mostly on writing that's similar to writing you did at Embry-Riddle or your professors did for you at Embry-Riddle, would you say?
In some ways, yeah, but in others, not so much. So, like a lot of the writing that I did at Embry-Riddle was very technical, and that has definitely carried over. But one way I'd say that's different is, in my personal experience, it's a lot less formal, and there are many different ways in which writing works itself into what I do. So, for example, like I don't. It's very rare that I will sit down and write like a 4-page memo or something. Usually the communication I do is more of like PowerPoint slides or quick update emails to the team. And so in that sort of communication, the key is conveying like a lot of highly technical information into a really condensed format that is easily digestible. So it's an interesting balancing act while doing that.
Very, very cool. And that leads me right into my next question, which you already somewhat answered for me. Is there anything you wish you would have known transitioning from Embry-Riddle into workplace writing?
Yeah, and I would say, quick disclaimer off the bat, like this is just my personal experience in like a research and development role. But in my experience, the ways in which writing works itself into my work is a lot less so like long formal reports and a lot more of fast updates and presentations. And so I guess I would say one way in which I think that Embry-Riddle might be able to improve is to kind of expand the scope of technical writing, I guess, because it's not a lot of reports. It's more of a lot of communicating these really complicated topics to both peers and to managers. And so those two groups have like very different needs, I guess, when you're writing. You might go into like a very complex discussion when you're talking to peers, and you might gloss over some details that they would already know, versus when you're talking to managers or external funding groups, that sort of thing, then you really need to take like a high level approach. And so just kind of learning how to do that, not just in like technical reports, but in email communications or even direct messages, presentations, that sort of thing.
Right. So making it kind of more specialized to whoever you're writing it to and what it's for and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. All right. And so my last question for you today is, do you have any general advice you'd like to give our Eagles?
Yes, I would say that whatever they have to bring to the table is valuable. And so like if you find yourself like struggling in your technical report class, you're just like, oh my gosh, I have to get like 2,000 words into this paper and I have no idea what I'm going to do. It's like, you're fine. It's okay. In the real world, you'll be thanked for not adding those 2,000 words. And so play to your strength and like don't get bogged down just like, oh, this assignment like just doesn't really jive with me. It's totally okay. When you get to the real world, you'll find your niche. You'll find how you communicate best. And it's a constant learning experience. It's going to change with jobs over time and in the particular role you're in. So I wouldn't stress about this difficulties you run in during college.
Perfect. That is great advice. Thank you so much, Alex. And do you have any other parting words you'd like to give us?
Good luck. Ace those finals. I don't know.
That's always good. Good to do. All right, a big thank you to Alex, who is our first ever interviewee for our What's the Word Eagle Alumni Spotlight podcast. We hope you all enjoyed the podcast and stay tuned for more.
This podcast is supported by the Department of Humanities and Communication at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Prescott, Arizona. Abby Bradbury is our host, Matthew Haslam is our department chair, and I'm Amelia Chesley, Assistant Professor of Professional Writing. The intro and outro music is Wanderer by Alex. Find us on YouTube or reach out if you're an alumni and would like to be featured in a future episode.